Oh, grief. Oh, it's on. It's on.
Okay.
Just hold it on me. You know what? You don't have to touch nothing.
Okay. It's already recording. Here you go, Phil.
It's already recording. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Put that on. I don't think I've got GMOs in.
Yeah, I got you.
Hello, world.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Welcome to the March Against Monsanto Canoga Park Edition. And I'm your host, Phil Jaffe. And before I get things started, I wanted to first inform you that the restrooms are that way, around that corner. There are non-organic food trucks. There's one right down there, and one on Lanark Street over there. It's about two of them, I think. Right. So, okay. And oh yes, before I get started here, I want to thank two groups here. One is the LA Recreation Parks Department. They're in Lanark Park for giving us a place to be up here. And second, with us here, the LAPD Topanga Division. They're great. They're a good group. I mean, they're not nasty like downtown. They're respectful. They're a good bunch. I like them. It's going to be Nisha Vida. And I got, if I can read this, Nisha Memorando Vida is a managing contributor to the Food Reform Coalition. And she's associate. Oh, first of all, she's a law student at UCLA. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And she's also one of the producers of the movie GMO OMG.
Nice.
Co-founder of the See Freedom LA. A chapter leader for Good LA. And essentially for this group, she's a speaker, writer, educator, and a Fulbright scholar, or Fulbright fellow, whichever, and an LA County Master Gardener. So, take it away, Nisha.
Thank you, Philip. Hi, everybody. How are you all doing here? Today? So as Philip mentioned, I've done some work investigating GMOs. For GMO OMG, I am an associate producer. I did a bunch of research on the film into around GMOs, what they are they good for us? I read a lot of the scientific papers which talk about, whether or not they're, hold on, actually I forgot to put my timer on so I don't go over. But actually, Philip asked me today to talk about legislation and legal issues around GMOs to sort of get everybody up to date on what's going on with law and policy. So I really want to spend my time talking about that. I'll be around for a few minutes after, so if you have other questions for me, feel free to ask me. So do you guys know, like, scientifically what genetic engineering is? If you do, raise your hand. All right, cool. You, right there with the awesome caterpillar. Is that a bee? It's a bee. What's a GMO? All right, so I'm just gonna assume that a lot of people because there's a lot of misinformation. So genetic engineering is the process of taking a piece of DNA from one species and forcibly inserting it into another. Up at Berkeley, actually GMOs, the science of genetic engineering was created here in California at Berkeley and Davis universities. And UCLA also has a strong bio research area, and I think USC does also. So we're actually our state is some of the world leaders in looking into creating GMOs, and they're also. Has anybody heard of synthetic biology? So programmers, biologists, and geneticists and others are coming together to create life forms from scratch. Anyhow, so there's also a lot of policy. There's not a lot of policy around that. There's not a lot of regulation around that, and the public doesn't really even know that this is going on. So something to look into, synthetic biology. So just a little bit of background. So the FDA is the agency that you would think that's responsible for regulating the food that we eat. But basically, so in 1958, Congress amended the existing act that regulated the FDA. The FDA has been around since the 1800s because food and drugs weren't regulated, and people were putting all kinds of crazy stuff into food, and people were dying and getting sick. So in the 60s, Congress amended the act, and they said that there's two types of regulations affecting food products. One is that food either needs pre-market approval, so it either needs to, the FDA scientists either need to vet it and show that it's safe, or there needs to be some kind of process to show that this food is safe. It can be shown to be generally regarded as safe, which is currently what GMOs are considered. So what that means is that in the case of GMOs is that they're considered to be the same as non-GMO because, for example, genetically modified corn, you're really just adding in a couple of genes, really, you're not changing the corn into like something completely different. At least this is the argument. And it's supported by policy from the 80s. In 1986, the White House under President Reagan released the Coordinated Framework for Regulation of Biotechnology. So under that set of policies, that sort of set of policies still underlies how we regulate GMOs today. Under that set of policies, there were sort of three prongs. One is that US policy would focus on GMO products, not the production techniques. So this means that from the get-go, there was a separation of thinking about how we're creating GMOs and what a GMO actually is, which seems a little odd because if a GMO is a GMO because of the production process, right, because you're taking a gene from over here and you're sticking it into this other organism over there, that's the production process. But under our policy since the 80s, we've decided to separate out considering safety and regulation of the finished product, the GMO that's already been created, from the process of creating the GMO. We heard of this? Well, that's actually not the official name of the act. That's dark, is Denying Americans the Right to Know. I think the official name is, actually I don't think I wrote down the official name. But so basically right now there are two bills in Congress to regulate GMOs at the federal level. One of them is the DARK Act, which a lot of you have probably heard about, hopefully written your Congress folks about to ask them not to vote for it. The problem right now is that we have a Republican Congress, so they tend to be very pro-business, right? So I think, and also this bill has bipartisan support, so it's been introduced by a Democrat and a Republican. So I just wanted to give you guys a little background about what this bill actually is going to do. So you know how earlier I said that the FDA has pre-market approval and GRAS? So a food product either has to be proven, it either needs pre-market approval, so it either needs to be shown to be safe before it's approved for market consumption, or it's considered generally regarded as safe and then it doesn't need any of this testing. So this bill actually wants to make GMOs that will be in the market for human consumption. They want to require all of this federal legislation would preempt all state legislation. So Vermont has said, the people of Vermont, told their legislature, voted, yes, we want GMOs to be labeled. So federal legislation would preempt that, right? It would say, okay, we're coming up with this federal standard that's going to be uniform across the country. So anything that's happened at the state level is going to now be overruled so that we can have this federal uniform legislation. So this is problematic if the legislation that's being put in place to replace the state legislation has no teeth and basically won't actually require testing or anything of the sort. Because if a food company has their scientists test the GMOs that they're making and then they're finding that those GMOs are safe, and then that is resulting in pre-market approval, then that means that those products won't require labeling, whereas Vermont might say, oh no, it's a genetically modified organism, we want labeling regardless. So there's actually another bill. Have you guys heard of Barbara Boxer's bill?
Nope.
Because I've been seeing a lot about the DARK Act, but nobody's talking about Barbara Boxer's bill, which I think it's not so good, because she has a bill right now. She's introduced a bill right now. I'm not sure if there's much Republican support. I know that the other bill is bipartisan. I think this is a Democrat bill. But anyhow, so our senator has introduced a bill that would be mandatory GMO labeling at the federal level. So this bill would also preempt states, right? Because if it's a federal...
So we're all out here. I'm sure that every single one of you would rather have food without GMOs in it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Would you really rather not eat GMOs? Is that correct?
Yes. No.
Yeah?
No GMO.
Yeah, no GMOs is what we're kind of thinking about here, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, Monsanto was the company that came with DDT.
Yep.
When they came out with DDT, they assured us it was perfectly safe. In fact, there were ads that came out that said DDT is good for me. Do you remember that? Well, I do, sort of.
So is Agent Orange.
I was almost born at the time. No, ladies and gentlemen, DDT is good for me. It was the ad that Monsanto had out. It said in the advertisement that there was studies done. It was scientifically proven that DDT did not harm anything, did not harm anyone. It was perfectly safe to use. Now, with that kind of track record, do you trust Monsanto?
No!
Okay, very good. So what happened then? Monsanto came out with PCBs. You know, PCBs were perfectly harmless. They were a replacement for an evil chemical. And we bought into it, and guess what? PCBs were bad for the environment. But Monsanto told us they were tested. They were scientifically proven to be safe for the environment. Do you trust Monsanto?
No!
No! I like that hell no. Let's try that again with a hell no. Can you do that for me?
Hell no, GMOs! Monsanto's gotta go!
Our public servants, Congress, House of Representatives, why don't they regulate GMOs? Money. Money. Follow the money. Exactly so. Now we're told that GMOs are safe. That GMOs won't harm us. GMOs have been scientifically proven to be perfectly harmless to human beings. Do you agree with that?
No!
Do you trust Monsanto?
No!
That's why we're here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because they won't do it for us. So what we have to do is educate ourselves. That's what Vita was talking about. She was talking about being educated. She was talking about having the knowledge to avoid these things. Also, you know that right now the United States, this corn-producing nation, has to import organic corn. We're importing organic corn from Romania and other Eastern European.
40 years old. I had 5 children and she had 4 ordinary children that were left behind because of a horrible, horrible cancer. That left me a little scarred. And I decided that for the rest of my life, it really didn't matter what happened with, we're all going to get something anyway. So it really didn't matter. But then something happened 4 years ago in my life that made me change my opinion on that. I sent my oldest son away to college, to a 4-year degree 2 states away. Something happened to him and I couldn't figure out what it was. He started getting depression and anxiety, and he had never had anything like that before. Then he decided to go on a 2-year mission for my church. And less than 1 year of his service, he was sent home for health reasons. About that same time, my second son started getting a lot of health problems that we couldn't understand, and we couldn't explain what was going on with my children. And I got down on my knees and I said to God, what is going wrong with this beautiful family that I have? No doctor can tell me what's wrong. So I decided to put on my dukes and search for what might be wrong with my kids. And I have spent a lot of time in the last 2 years on the internet, searching for answers, talking to doctors, all kinds of doctors. And these are the things that I learned. The first thing that I learned is that diet matters. Our diet really does matter. What I learned as a little child, we are what we eat. Really. Two things I felt betrayed from. And suddenly I felt like Truman. Do you guys remember the Truman Show? Jim Carrey? How his whole life, yeah, Truman. So his whole life is being televised, and he doesn't know it. And then, I'm not going to give away the movie, but you're going to find out. And that's how I felt when I found out about Monsanto. I felt betrayed. I felt all my food is fake. It's all fake. And it hit me to my heart. It really hurt me. So this past week,
45 yet?
my children had, at the elementary school, we had a little open house at the end of the school year. And I decided to conduct a small survey, very small.
Yeah,
And,
great.
but I asked them one question. What do you know about GMOs?
I think,
My principal said to me,
oh God, you're so upset.
great. I said, okay, thank you. My principal didn't know what GMOs were. 3 school teachers, 2 of them absolutely looked at me like I was.
I had family.
that, you
Where'd
know,
you go?
a deer in headlights.
I had
Another
family
one,
here.
She knew quite a bit. I gave her
Yeah.
a half rope
My
on
cousin
that one.
Phil.
2 people
Still here.
out of 20 people
Oh, there he is right
really
there.
knew what
We in
I
the
was
back
talking
there
about.
pacing around.
And 2 of them wished they would have been here today because they knew more than I did even. But there have been a lot of voting going on, and we're trying to get the word out. And so in my quest for truth, I've learned that people need truth also. And we need to share this truth with people because not everyone knows about it. We are getting shut down in different voting, but we can keep trying.
I think you got beyond 15.
So we also can vote with our dollars. Yeah. We can go organic. Yeah. We do not need to be buying all these things. We
5% in sugar beets. And we do feed sugar beets also to the animals. But this is all GE food. So that's the missing link right there. That's what this guy is missing. And I encourage you to watch Cowspiracy. It's really a very good documentary, and you'll realize that, you know, our droughts here, and that the fact that when you go to restaurants now, they don't bring you water automatically anymore because they're trying to save Southern California by not giving you water in restaurants. How about eating less meat?
Yeah!
I mean, my God. Monsanto. Wow. So, this company who bought Blackwater.
They did?
Yeah. Why did they buy Blackwater? Could it be to target activists? I don't know. Who's trying to control all our seeds? Do we want our seeds controlled by a corporation?
No.
Who's trying to control all our food? No, we don't want this. GE. I think we need to get used to calling these crops GE instead of GMO. Because there's going to be people who are going to argue that GMO doesn't really fit the bill. It's genetically modified, genetically engineered is more what we're talking about here. You know, so just so that we can avoid that argument, GE, and if we have to come up with a code like GEF, you know, genetically engineered food or something, we'll think about it. I'll get back to you on that one. Monsanto continues to make hazardous chemicals because of profitability. David King touched on PCBs. Monsanto created PCBs. But it's General Electric that's behind Monsanto with the funding to make sure that they produce 1.5 billion pounds of PCBs and that they continue to produce PCBs that not only destroy the environment, they destroy us. They give us cancer. They give women breast cancer. And as they deteriorate, they get more toxic. They don't get less toxic, they get more toxic. That's Monsanto, PCBs. So let's go back to the agriculture industry. So the meat. We want to label GMOs. Does that mean that we're going to put stickers on all the meat? No, it doesn't. I don't think question, you know, because it's inside the cows, you know. I mean, unless it is grass-fed, family-raised, and you know for sure you've visited the farm and you've seen these people and you've seen their cows and you've seen that it's sustainable and you've seen that they have all kinds of animals and they're growing food and they're putting the manure back into the soil. You know, it's creating a farming system that's thousands of years old. Unless you can see that with your own eyes, chances are that these cows are being fed corn, soy, cotton, canola, and sugar beets. 95 to 90% assurity that it is a GE crop grown in this country. That's disgusting.
Ugh.
And that continues to just deplenish the soil. It's sprayed with the round.
First of all, last night I got an article on Facebook that says that the FDA is now requiring. This is gonna be insane. I'm gonna tell you. The FDA is now requiring non-GMO products, whether it be canola oil, soy, whatever. They've got to label verifiable non-GMO. In other words, the non-GMO products have got to label themselves, but GMO products don't. Is that moronic or what?
Yep.
Oh gosh. And of course, there's this other article I saw earlier, which Melissa forgot to stress. It has to do with Monsanto going organic. What? Well, instead of injecting the genes of another species into a plant, they're going to crossbreed it the old way. I guess what it is, obviously, they're trying to save themselves. Why? Because that is my last subject. Folks, this might be the last year for the march against Monsanto. Why? Because Monsanto is dying. It is dying. And every year, every quarter of the year, they've been losing 50% of their profit margin. They're going down, 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 down. And really, the reason for it is because these marches are working. People are listening, and these marches are working because Monsanto is losing their profits. They're going down the commode. And so, it's because of that we may not have to march against Monsanto anymore. More like a march against biotech. We're not really just marching against Monsanto here, we're marching against Dow, DuPont, ADM, Conagra,
Syngenta, Bayer,
Syngenta, yeah.
Nestle. General Mills.
Oh yeah. And General Mills is going down the toilet also.
Yep.
Same idea, wrong one.
Oh, the McDonald's. I just love McDonald's shut down. I mean, we're right across the street there, you know? Right next to the bonds. But listen, the last thing I want to point out here is the part about the price lookup codes. Now, if you go into the produce department of any supermarket, you'll see that produce items have these little one-inch diameter stickers. And they have these little codes you can look up. These 4 and 5 digit codes. Now, if that code is 5 digits, it starts with a 9. That means that it's organic. And it's organic. If it starts at 8, that means it's been genetically modified. So you know, so effectively, it wasn't been labeled already. Nice, but that's not good enough. Because why the hell should we have to look up how to read code numbers on produce? I mean, it's insane. I mean, look, we're asking for a simple label that says, you know, GMOs are used as product, you know, or other labels that says it's a non-GMO product. Well, we need more than that, you know, like the Grocery Managers Association, the GMA, they can't expect us to learn the 5-digit code or how it's set up, or, you know, it's insane. But, okay, I think I've covered everything. So, what I'm getting to now is it's time for music.
I love this planet so much. I absolutely love these trees. This place is amazing. Let's get into it for a minute there. I don't know if anybody does any qigong or anything like that, but we'll just do some basic. Just take a breath. Breathe in this wonderful air that these great trees are giving us. Let's picture some roots coming down from the bottoms of our feet and just stand with a nice platform there. Stand like a tree. Tune in to the frequency of the earth. Align my spirit soul in to the earth. Restore one love connection between head and heart. Blood is the connection between head and heart. Restore this connection through bowl, healthy food. The memory of our unity is in our food, that we are the creators of our own reality. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe.
Oh, yes!
Accept the truth. Set the intention for a better way to live free and fair. And don't be scared. We give and have the power to support each other. Rise above fearlessly, peacefully, like God.
our seeds.
The sun is solution.
Save our seeds.
The only solution.
Save our seeds.
We should probably know it's here.
Save our seeds.
What you can do.
Save our seeds.
Grow your own food.
Save our seeds.
'Cause we have all we need.
Save our seeds.
And we can't beat this greed.
Our seeds. If you want fresh food to live.
You better save your seed. Save our seeds. The sun is solution.
Save our seeds.
The water solution.
Save our seeds.
The soil solution.
Save our seeds.
The cosmic solution.
Save our seeds. Save our seeds. If you want fresh food to live.
Save our seeds.
Save our seeds. Save our seeds. Save our seeds. Save our seeds. Save our seeds. Save our seeds.
You gotta
Save our
your
seeds.
seeds.
If you want fresh food to live, save your seeds.
You gotta
Save
save
our
your
seeds. If you want fresh food to live,
Save our seeds. You gotta save your seeds.
if you want fresh food to live,
Save your
Okay. Well, behind me. Oh, here they come. Beautiful. Hey. Okay, once it goes to bed again, here we. Okay. Oh, here I come.
Larger story beyond Monsanto.
Leah, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, awesome.
It's great.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it. So good having them at the front, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, we should plant these in the yard.
We can plant them in the yard. I know Ronnie would be
Hey.
really proud of us.
We should plant these in the yard. And I like your shirt. It's very nice.
So next time you guys need no GMO shirts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have fun.
Look for go to weaddup.com.
WeAddUp.com.
We add up, one word. We add up.
And that's where they got all the shirts and stuff?
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll definitely have to check that out. So I think we should go into the restaurant and get some food. How do we go
someone
and
dropped
get
the
in?
sign.
I have to go, okay.
Don't let him
You have to go
move.
to the front there. It's way in the back on the left.
Right. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, Leah.
Reach out to me. All right?
Yes. Thanks again, Leah.